Greetings, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Plan B Success. Who we have with us today is Mark Kumar, who's a lifestyle entrepreneur, has had three businesses that he's dabbled in, came out successful, and has started his own podcasting business. So let's learn about Mark and what he has done while he was dabbling in business. So welcome, Mark.
All right, Ranjit, thank you so much for having me on your show. It's truly a pleasure. And I think we're going to have some really valuable content for your audience to listen to it. And if they take action, they're going to get success a lot more than they have before. Let's go.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? So where did your journey begin and how did you get into podcasting where you're now?
Oh, that's a really interesting story. I started my whole lifestyle entrepreneur journey almost like a decade ago, where I was in a photography business, which was the very first business I started, and it just happened just naturally without even me even thinking about starting a business. So how that happened was I got a camera as a Christmas present one year, and then I started taking pictures with it, and the family found out, hey, Mark is a photographer. And then one thing led to another. Families, friends hired me for the very first paid gig. And at the time I was so excited. I was like, wow, I'm actually getting paid to do something that I love. And it wasn't really that much of money. It was like $50 or $75, somewhere along that line. But for that 1 hour's worth of work, I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. So I started doing that and then got into like actually learning how to do photograph the right way, which is like, then I went into the business of photography where I did portrait, weddings, and then fashion photography, and then took that. I'm really having fun. Let's see what else I can do. So what I did was I went into another business, which is like part of the photography business. So like I taught other photographers how they can run their photography business more successfully, like that I was doing it. And then they came in here and I did like a local meetup where everybody just came in together and I told them everything that I knew. And when they applied, they were like, holy crap, that stuff actually worked. And then I took it one step further. I got them on the online platform because summertime came and I was just being lazy and I didn't want to go out there in the hot summer weather doing this workshops and getting the models and everything else. So I got them on a webinar where I taught them how to edit pictures, and it was like a 1 hour webinar where I think like 10, maybe 15 or maybe 20 people, I don't remember exactly, it was like 10 years ago, and everybody paid like good like want to say $100, $50, something like that. So it was like nice, good chunk of money. I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. So I got to learn how to do this. And then I finally figured out like this whole online educational business is probably the most rewarding, not just financially, but also how you change other people's life. And then fast forward about 7 years ago, I was on the path where I wanted to learn something, and I'm not really a fast reader, and YouTube videos were helpful, but they have required me to, or anybody else that watched a YouTube video, you gotta set a time aside. You cannot do anything else. So like I gotta find a way how I can actually learn more things. People who are ahead of me, how I can learn from them. So that's where the whole podcasting thing came in, where I just listened to one podcast. I think the very first one was Tony Robbins, and then I went into Frank Kern and everybody else, like all different kind of industry. And I got so hooked to it for the next 3 years. That's all I did. I listened to podcasts on my way to walking, on my way to the gym, or if I'm doing anything else, or even if I'm editing pictures or doing something on the computer, I have my ears plugged in. I'm like listening to them like the sponge just keep on soaking and soaking and soaking. And then 3 years later, I'm like, I gotta figure out what I can do. All this knowledge that I accumulated, how do I give back? So that's like, I'm gonna have to figure out like how I can start my podcast. Mind you, before this, I had no idea if I was able to do it. I heard it, I was a consumer, but never on the other end side where I'm going to record this and do that and so on and forth. And then led to it where I was like, I'm going to go create it. Then I went into, just like everybody else who was looking to create a podcast, they get their mic and then the whole equipment and everything else. And then comes the part where hey, where do I go and distribute my podcast so everybody else can listen to it? And then I went to different companies that like got a lot of competitors that are out there. Like some of them were like, hey, you can give us X amount of dollar and we'll allow you to only post 4 podcasts or episodes. And then another one was like, we'll let you do unlimited, but we're going to limit you on how many people can listen to your podcast. And if your podcast is popular, then you have to pay us more money. There's like so many headache and pain and things. And I did that for like good 3 months. I couldn't find a company that would like one account and we'll give you everything. Couldn't find it. So I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to go and create my own company where I can help fellow podcasters who don't want to deal with this crap that everybody else is doing, all the competitors are doing. So I created a company called Simple Podcast Cloud. And you can go to it by going to the URL, which is simplepodcastcloud.com. And with us, there's only one account, one payment, and you get unlimited shows, episode, bandwidth, and a professional website with no ads whatsoever. So that's something that I'm like, everybody who has tried it, they absolutely love it because the interface, it is so easy to use and is 100% compatible with the big boy in the podcast industry, which is Apple and iTunes. So that's how I got into whole podcasting.
How long have you been podcasting now?
Believe it or not, a very short period of time. Like I started last year of November. However, I was able to get big people to be on my podcast. Like, for example, the CFO of SWATcast. I don't know if you know SWATcast or not, but it's like a recording services. I got the CFO of that particular company to come into my podcast so I can interview him along with other several people. And it's like amazing. It's truly been a rewarding journey since I started because I get to tap into other people's mind and have between 30 minutes to an hour of their undivided attention. So I tell people like, hey, this is like the fastest way you can become successful. And no one's going to give you 10 minutes if you ask them. But if you ask them, hey, get on my podcast, you have 1 hour. You can ask them anything, which is great.
So how many episodes do you do now right now?
It varies. Sometimes I can knock it out like 4 or 5 in a month. Sometimes it's 7. But I think I have up until now at this time, I think it's 50 episodes already on. And they're already pre-recorded that I need to publish them. I think 20 more to go. So we're like at the end of this year, probably like 200 episodes, which is pretty significant.
And what's your listenership? How's that been doing?
It's like per episode it varies. So you can't be like very specific, but on an average, it's about 2,000 to 5,000, give or take, per episode.
Pretty good. And where all do you market it?
Right now it's just the word of mouth, but then also I do Facebook advertisement where I just direct them to my email list, and email list goes to the podcasting link and things of that nature. And then also do a little bit of YouTube marketing as well. And then other people that I know, I tell them like, hey, I have another episode. And then from that point on.
Have you been able to monetize your podcast yet?
Oh, absolutely. That's like the biggest thing, right? Absolutely. I think the biggest challenge a lot of people have is like, I have this podcast when they first created, like, this is pretty sweet. I love this thing. And then 2 months down the line, how do I monetize this thing? I'm spending all this time and effort and everything else. How do I monetize it? So the fastest way I learned is not through sponsorship, because if you're just starting out and you have, let's say, 10 people listening to your show consecutively, if you try to go get a sponsor, like you have 10 people, like, we don't care about you. Like, we don't care, like, whatever. And so that's something I don't recommend. What I do recommend is ask people in your podcast to go join your email list. And then from the email list, you send them into whatever digital product that you have. Whether it be a video course, ebook, membership, one-on-one coaching, or whatever, that's the fastest way. And then it's a lot more profitable. And then also, it's depending on if you have like an online coaching program, like where it's monthly basis, you get money right away. But also the benefit of an email list is you can market to them anytime you want. It's like your online banking. You just send an email, depending on if you have a good relationship with the email list, you can make money literally print it as you want. So that's what I discovered. That works for me.
So let me ask you a little bit about your other businesses, right? The photography business. And then I think you dabbled in web development for a while. And then there was another interesting part of your journey, which was your weight journey.
Yes, that was interesting. And let me just go back to the whole photography. So put that thing in a sequence. So the first business was photography. And then I went into, and I was doing the whole photography business, not having ever owning a website. And then I was like, I'm going to go get a website. And then I try to find somebody to do a website for me because I want to have a very specific need. And someone told me they would charge me $10,000, $20,000 for my website that I want. I'm like, that's crazy. At the time, I don't have that extra money to give it to you. I was like, I'm just going to learn it. So I learned it on my own, like whole HTML thing, CSS, JavaScript, so on and so forth. And then dabble into the whole WordPress world of it. And then what I discovered, and I know everybody who still uses WordPress, every single time there's a new update in WordPress, your site will break. The biggest challenge that I had was like when the whole Google and the whole internet world, where they went from the regular HTTP to HTTPS, all WordPress sites just blew up. I'm like, oh my God, that was horrible. So what I did was, because I knew a little bit of technology, I went on and created my own personalized, something similar to like WordPress is a content management system that I call it. It's based on a Node.js, which is like another technology. And then that was now all of my website, or all the clients that I do the website for, it's all runs on that. And then it's never broken and it has no issues whatsoever. And then also I went on to like a corporate world where I created a project for this company. Let's just call it Company X. And then saved the project that I worked on it saved that particular company in the course of 8 to 9 months, like $1.6 million, which is huge for them. Well, like, I guess for average person, that's huge. But like in this company who's making like $1 million a day, it's like, oh, that's nice. Let's move on, But as a corporate company, if you're going to save $1 million here, then you can spend it over there. So for them, it was huge. And then while doing this whole web development thing, and as anybody who sits behind a computer for, let's say, more than 8 hours, 7 days a week, there's a downside to that. You start to gain weight because you're not physically moving around or doing an exercise. So I got into the point where like I was really getting to the point where I was becoming a borderline diabetic. In my family, both of my parents have diabetes. So I went to a trainer, like I need to lose weight. And at the time, I was wearing about 2XL shirt size and then 42 size dress pants. And I weighed about 270 pounds, which was huge. And my trainer who I went to, and they're like, hey, if you continue this path, you're literally going to cut 10 years of your life. And that scared the hell out of me. I was like, there's no way. I love life and I want to enjoy everything that this wonderful, amazing world has to offer. And then I started changing stuff and started changing my diet. And I tried to look for any and all information. I even hired a personal trainer to help me. And then all the things that particular personal trainer was telling me I was doing, but I wasn't seeing a result because that particular personal trainer was telling me, do this because that's what the book said. I'm like, in real life, that stuff doesn't work. You have to modify it to the person, not just what the book says. So I was like, you know what? I fired that trainer and I was like, let me figure this out because it seems like I'm pretty smart guy. I could figure out the photography business. I could figure out the web development business. And this has to be fairly simple because it has to be my mental health. I need to figure this thing out. So it was like not an option. So I tried a whole bunch of different diets and you name it. There's a salad diet, there's a protein diet, the carb diet, and believe it or not, there's an alcohol diet. And I've tried that for 2 weeks. It does work, but I don't recommend it. So basically how that works is you take a shot of alcohol before you go to bed, empty stomach, and hard liquor. And then it helps you speed up your metabolism, but it doesn't last for long. So I don't recommend it. I am not recommending that at all. Just putting that disclaimer out there. Mm-hmm. And then what I actually discovered, if you eat a certain kind of food, whether it be Atkins diet, whether it be vegetables, whether it be carbs, protein, so on and so forth, it doesn't really matter. If you eat that for X amount of time, let's just say 3 days or 7 days, and on the 8th day, if you go and eat the stuff that you normally eat, your body will freak the hell out and you'll be allergic to the food that you have been eating all your life. The strangest thing ever. So what I found out is like, rather than you following a one specific diet, just do the simple thing. And it's so simple. You get a food scale. If anybody who's listening to it who wants to lose weight, right? This is exactly what you do. You get a food scale. And then you take a container. You put it on top of your food. I follow the gram system. And then all you really do is put that food scale on gram. And whatever amount of food that you normally eat, you put it there and you put it on your food scale in a container and you write it down, whatever amount it is. Let's say on Monday morning, you get up and you have bagel with cheese and then whatever you have, you measure it. You do that for 3 days. And in 3 days, you will start to realize what is your daily consumption in terms of grams. That way you know where you're starting off. And then come Wednesday or even Thursday, you just cut it by, let's just say from Monday to Wednesday, you tried it, right? And your total average for the day in terms of gram was like, I don't know, 1,200 grams. And then on Thursday, you just cut that 1,200 grams to 1,180 grams. That's all you do. You do that, you stay at 1,180 grams for a week. And then following week, you cut it another 10 or 15 grams. Then another, because what that will do is your body will never be allergic to anything because you'll continue to eating the food whatever you want. You're just measuring it, that's all. So you have the versatility and the flexibility to eat whatever you want. And in essence, because you have that thing, your mind or your cravings will never prevent you from losing weight.
So how far did you go? Like, let's say 1,200 to 600 or what?
I went from, I'm just throwing a ballpark figure. For me, I went from, let's say, 800 to like 400 grams for the whole day. 400 grams per day I can have. And if I want to have, let's say, 4 meals, I break it down to like per meal at 125, and another one with whatever. So depending on how often you want to eat. So you take that number and you divide it by the number of meals you want to have, and that's all you do. And then if you want to do a meal prep, it's the most basic thing and the most effective one is you create a meal prep. You get one of those Tupperware plastic one. You put your food in there. You don't have to worry about it. Because the biggest challenge that most people have, especially when they're hungry, they're like, I don't have time to eat. I really don't have time to, I don't have time to cook, not eat, but everybody has time to eat. Nobody has time to cook. But the beautiful thing is it doesn't take that long. I spend maybe 2 hours in a week to do my meal prep, and that's it. And then I eat for the rest of the week.
That's pretty interesting. So what you're saying is it doesn't matter what food you eat, just cut down the quantity.
That's it. And that will help you keep your cravings low. You can still have your donut, you still can have your chocolate, whatever. You just put it on a scale. That's literally, it does not get any simpler than that.
And you mentioned about the 80 odd pounds that you lost. How long did it take?
It took about 3 to 4 years, because I didn't know what I was doing. I was just doing trial and error. See if that works, if that diet works, if that diet works, that didn't work, okay, let me try something else. So it's all try and error. But now that I have done all this trial and error, I know for a fact, if I want to lose weight, I need to keep my gram per meal between 100 and 125 grams. That's it. And I can eat every 4 hours, and I'm good.
And then did you supplement it with some exercise and stuff, or?
Right, you will do that, but that's like a secondary step. But the first step is that people who are just wanting to lose weight. The most important the thing about losing weight is your diet, which is like, some people say it's 80%, I say it's 95%. Because you can go to the gym for about 2 hours. It would not make any difference as compared to what you do for the other 22 hours of the day.
And then have you been able to keep it away?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I went from, like I said, I was wearing 2XL shirts when I first started, and now I'm down to like medium shirt. And from 42 pant size to like 34 to 32 will fluctuate. So
that's pretty interesting. Have you been looking at propagating that message? Any courses you've created around that?
Not particularly around that, because don't know, but any friends or family member were like, hey, I need some help, I give them advice and I don't charge them anything, because I think, if this is my own belief, if I can help you get healthier and live longer, that's more than payment enough for me.
So, from the standpoint of what you're doing in the podcasting space, and especially now that you have a company where you're actually looking at other podcasts leveraging your technology, what's your vision? Where do you see yourself going?
I would say I want to have at least 1,500 people in the next 2 years using our platform, which is paid clients. And if I can help those 1,500 podcasters get their message to the world and distribute it, that would be like the world to me.
Have you considered any kind of consulting services alongside what you're doing in terms of helping grow podcasts?
I do one-on-one coaching, but it's more on the business side rather than a podcasting side. So I have other coaching businesses where if you are looking for someone who's looking for having a digital entrepreneurial world, if you want to call it, or empire, where you want to teach other people whatever advice that you have to help them better their life and make more money. That's something that I do. So basically what I do is, like for example, if you have something you are really good at, whatever that skill is, I can help you monetize that skill online by creating a digital assets, is what I call it, whether it would be a digital product, ebook or video course, or your online consulting, whether you be a coach or things of that nature, and then also a membership sites. I can help, but I think membership sites for me, I don't really do that, because it's just like one of those things. You create a course and you do that and you charge other people for it. For me, I want to add value to whoever I'm communicating, every single one. So I want to have that one-on-one interaction. Whatever course that I created, and I don't want to charge that person every single month, because I feel like I'm not doing them any service. But if I have this, like for example, the conversation we're having, you may have X amount of problem in January 1st. And then then on March 2nd, you may have a different problem. But if I create my courses based on the problem that you're having in January 1st, I'm not doing you any service if your problems change or you have bigger problems. So that's why I feel like the online coaching world is a lot more beneficial for both parties, because people can really just pick up the phone or get on a Zoom call or anywhere form of communication and literally just knock it out, whatever problem you have. And then also this, the mentoring or the online coaching world is beautiful. I love it, because, if you really want to get ahead in life, get a mentor, because that particular person is going to save you at least 1,000 hours in a month worth of headache that you haven't even thought about it. Let's say if you're just starting off, let's say you're a podcast, just for the sake of simplicity, you're a podcaster and you're like, hey, I want to become a really powerful, or rather be really successful podcaster in the next 3 months. And you're starting out, you don't know anything. The best advice I can give you, go find a mentor like myself or our host here, and whoever you want to talk to, whoever it is, doesn't matter, somebody who knows more than you. Go pay that person, because that person is going to show you the shortest cut to get to where you want to go a lot faster, and then it's going to save you tons of headache. I had my coach, like for myself, I have my coach, my people who coach me, and then I coach other people. So it works both ways. So I know from both sides of it. So when I hire a coach, what I need to look for, and when I coach people, what kind of clients I want to have. So coaching is definitely, by far, the fastest way to get where you want to go.
Awesome. And then, where do people find you? One is yourself personally in terms of questions that they might have, and this technology that you're building.
They can find me on my website, which is markkumar.com. Just click on /contact and you'll be able to contact me. And also people who are listening to this, they can go to this particular URL, which is markkumar.com /gift, and have something really special for all your listeners out there. They're going to really take that particular, go to that particular URL. You're going to get this gift that's going to help you take your business to the next level. And I promise you. And also, if you mention this show, when you contact, I'll give you a 30-minute consultation with me as one-on-one, absolutely free.
That's wonderful. That's great. I think that'll be great for the listeners. For those that want to try out the podcasting platform, where do they go?
They can just go to simplepodcastcloud.com and then sign up for an account. There is no requirement of your credit card. You have a 14-day free trial. Try out the whole system with fully all the feature the system has to offer. And then after 14 days, you feel like this is something that is going to work for you, which it will. And everybody who's taken the 14-day trial, it does work, and they go into a paid account. And then if you have any question related to that, you contact me directly, and I'll get on a call and answer any question you have.
Awesome. Hey, Mark, it's been a pleasure having you on the show. Thanks for joining us today. But before I let you go, one takeaway for the listeners that you'd like to leave them with, any thought, anything that you'd like to share?
Only thing I will say is, if you are a person who has 9-to-5 job, and then you want to do something else and then better your life for your family, for yourself, your loved one, whoever it is, start working today from 6 to 10, at least 5 days a week. Because what that's going to do is, it's going to really help you get ahead in life and make you a successful entrepreneur a lot sooner. Meaning, let's say you are a technician, for example. You go to your 9-to-5. You become like really good at fixing things. And then take that same skill offline or after you get home. Try to make a side business out of it. And then try to help other people. And then in send, you will make extra money, whether it will be $100, $200, $1,000, doesn't really matter. But if you continue, you will create yourself a personal brand outside your work. And people who know you, they'll be like, I want to go to that person because that person is amazing. And then do that for at least 6 months continuously, whether you see a result or not. I promise you, after 6 months, you're going to have at least $2,000 worth of side business without even trying it. So always 1% increment, learn something new.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Mark. A lot to learn from you, and I hope the listeners go check out your platform, your website, and wishing you the very best as you move forward.
Thank you so much for having me. It's truly been a blast, and I appreciate the opportunity.
I hope you liked that episode and are enjoying all the episodes in Plan B Success podcast. I'd encourage you to go subscribe on your favorite platform, whether it's any listening platform or YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Make sure you subscribe so that you enjoy this content and extract from it what serves you best, what benefits you in your own life, personal, professional, business, whatever it might be. PlanB.live is the website where you can go in order to find any episode that you would like to listen to. 3 times a week, we release episodes, the first being an inspiring interview with someone who's done it, been there, done that, and can inspire you to go after what you want to achieve. Every Monday, that's the episode that gets released. And then, on Wednesdays and Fridays, we pick a topic and we talk about it in order to benefit you in your personal and professional life. At the same time, if you're someone who's interested in learning more about these concepts, if you're someone who's interested in podcasting as well, go check out planbsuccessschool.thinkific.com. That's where all the online courses are. You can learn and benefit from them there as well. There's a bunch of free courses. There's a bunch of paid courses. Start with the free ones. Get to learn what you aspire to learn. And if you want to delve deeper, then you can sign up for the other ones. Thank you very much.